So today we are going to discuss about entity relationships in the JPA part. So in the last session, by using the JPA ORM, that is what by using the Hibernate implementation, we have performed the CRUD operations. Okay, so by simply using entity manager factory, entity manager, we have performed the CRUD operations. Okay, so by while doing that one, we have inserted only one record. We have inserted only one, not one record. I can say only we have worked only with the one classes. So that was the entity class. Either you have worked with the student entity class or we have worked with the employee entity class. Okay, we have created the student entity class object. Okay, and we have stored and we have persisted it into the database. Okay, by using entity manager dot persist method. Or whenever you guys are going to retrieve that record, okay, only one database table is there. So from that table you guys are going to retrieve your records. Okay, so by using the find method, entity manager, okay, dot find method. Or whenever you guys are going for the update and delete, record from the only one table is going to be deleted because there was only one entity class is there. Okay, or there was only one, we can say the database table was there. So we were working out with a single entity only. We were working with a single entity only, and hence we have performed all these. It has been done well. Okay, but now what, there is the situation in the programming that there are more than one classes. Okay, and we have to insert record in that classes, but these classes having the relationship, these classes having the relationship. Okay, so I can say classes having a relationship means what? Classes having a relationship. Relationship. Okay, consider these are the entity classes. Huh? So classes having the relationship means what? So we can simply say we have the tables having the relationship. Tables having a relationship. And how the relationship between tables will be get maintained? So assume like I do have the table. Okay, we can say employee. I do have the table employee, and exactly same I do have another one table. Okay, as a department, as a department. So table employee is there and the table department is there. Okay, so both the tables will be in a relationship, or both the tables are in the relationship. That means what? The primary key of a one table, primary key of a one table is putted as a foreign key in another table. So assume like I do have the department ID. Okay, I just making here as a department ID. Okay, consider this. This is as the department ID. Okay, and it is a primary key over here. It is a primary key over here. Okay, which is the unique key. You guys know the constant. Now this primary key, if I am putting here as a foreign key, okay, department ID itself, or you can give the name here foreign key F, okay, underscore department ID, and this is what we are making it as the foreign key. We are making it as a foreign key. Then we say that, these two tables, these two tables are in a relationship with each other. These tables are in a relationship with each other. Okay, so that is related with the database. That is related with the database. But you guys know that in a JPA or in the ORM, we are not going to work with the tables. It is there in the database, but programmatically we are not going to work with this table. So these tables are replaced by the entity classes. So assume like I do have the employee class. Okay, that is what the entity employee entity, and that employee entity, okay, will be get related, or it have the relationship with the department 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 entity, department entity. Okay, so what I will do, I will go through the entity annotations, and I will map this employee entity with a table employee, and department entity with a department table. And you guys know how you can do that one. Okay, so this is exactly the relationship. This is exactly the relationship. So if such a kind of relationship is there, if such a kind of relationship is there, then we always call as, okay, these entities are in the relationship with each other. Okay, so we always say that a relationship means reference of one entity, reference of one entity to another entity, reference of one entity into another entity. Okay, is nothing but we always call it as the entity relationship, we can say. We always call it as the entity relationship. Okay, so what we can do here simply in this kind of relationship, so assume like this department id into the department, how you are going to put here, we are going to use @id. Okay, you guys are going to use @id. Okay, to mark your primary key. So you guys having the private integer department id. Okay, we will put the same name over here. Okay, so private integer department id, and it is we have make it as the @id into this entity, department entity class. Okay, and here actually here we do have this employee, and here we have the employee id. We do have the employee. Okay, I just say employee id. Okay, this is again we can say, okay, we need to use @id. Okay, @id, and in this one we will write here private integer employee id. It is employee id. Okay, so it is what exactly the relationship, we can say. It is what exactly the relationship between the tables and relationship between the classes. Okay, so if such a situation is there, such a situation is there, we always call it as classes are in a relationship with each other. Classes are in a relationship with each other. So see, actually this relationship can be of a multiple types. Actually it can be a unidirectional. Okay, if I made it like this one, see, if I put it like this one, if I put it like this one, so it is called as a unidirectional. It is called as a unidirectional. Okay, that means what, here actually employee entity and department information will be get available to the employee entity. Okay, so through the employee you can get the department, you can get the department, but through the department you cannot get the we can say employee. So that is what we call it as the unidirectional. So I do have the relationship between a classes as a unidirectional. Unidirectional. So in that one the relationship is in the one direction only. So one entity knows about other, but other don't know about the one entity. So that is what the unidirectional. And sometimes there is the bidirectional, we can say. Okay, so this actually employee entity and department entity which I have put it here, it is what we call it as the bidirectional. It is what we call it as the, sorry, it is what we call it as the unidirectional relationship. Now if you guys have to implement the bidirectional, if you guys have to implement the bidirectional, how you can do that? So here is simply assume like I do have the employee entity. Okay, I do have the employee entity. Okay, and that employee entity is mapped or is having the relationship with the project. Okay, we have the project entity or the project, we can say. Okay, so now in this case, if you know the employee, through that you will comes to know that, okay, this employee is working on this project. Okay, or if you know the project name, then you can get the information that these are the employees working on the, these are working on the, these employees are working on this project. So this is such a kind of relationship is called as a bi-directional relationship. Okay, that means what, in this case employee knows about the project, employee knows about the project, and project also know about the employee. Okay, but in this case employee know about the department, employee know about the department, but department does not know, or it don't know about the employee. So this is what the unidirectional, and this is what the bidirectional kind of a relationship. Unidirectional and a bidirectional kind of a relationship. Hope it is getting. Yes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so if such a kind of relationships are there, if such a kind of relationships are there, can do that. Okay, how you can write the programs on that one? So actually for that one, we guys have to consider about the property relationships actually. We guys have to consider about the property relationship. So again, it can be divided in a further type. I can say just we can say types of relationship or entity relationship types. Entity relationship, we can say types, entity relationship types. Okay, it is also called as a cardinality. Okay, it is also called as a cardinality. That means what, here the occurrences of one entity data into another, how many times it is get occur, according to that this cardinality or this relationship is of a multiple type. Okay, and what are that? So we can say it is one kind of, like I can simply say it is what I can say one to one kind of relationship. We can say one to one kind of a relationship. Then we have another one kind of relationship, we call it as the one to many, one to, we can say many kind of relationship, one to many kind of relationship. Then we have another one like okay, we can simply say we have the many to one, many to one kind of relationship, many to one kind of relationship. And finally we do have many to many to many kind of relationship, many to many kind of relationship. So see, actually this is what the cardinality, this is what the cardinality actually. So through that one we are just going to consider the occurrences of one entity into another. Okay, so accordingly we are going to consider. So what it means, one to one means what? One to one means what? One entity, okay, one entity record occurs only once into the another. Okay, or that primary key data of one table occurs only one into another. Okay, okay, and there is associated, that record is associated only once, the record is associated only once into another entity, then that is what the one to many. Okay, but here we are saying that one to many, sorry, one to one. Here we are saying one to many means what? Like we have the two entities. Okay, so record of that entity will occur many times here, but this will occur only once. So one to many. Okay, many occurrences of that one we will have here. Then many to one, it is again the reverse of this one. And many to many means what? Here actually one entity have the multiple occurrences. One entity have the multiple occurrences, and other having have the multiple. For example, see, one project have the multiple employees, one project have the multiple employees. Okay, and multiple employees can be work on the multiple project. Even one employee can be working on the multiple project, 2 3 projects are there. Okay, and simply one project, on one project that multiple employees are going to be work. So if such a kind of a scenarios are there, okay, then we have to distinguish that. We have to program it separately. We need to consider, is it one-to-one kind of relationship, or is it a one-to-many kind of relationship, or is it many to one or many to many. And according to that, we guys have to go for the programming. We guys have to go for the programming. We have to join these tables, and programmatically everything will be get fine. Okay, so to understand all these things, we will go one by one. What exactly one to one? What is example we are going to consider over here? Okay, programmatically how we can do that one. Okay, then we will try to execute it. We will try to execute it. Like that one, we will go to finish all the relationship cardinalities. Getting guys what I mean to say here? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm just going to explain you about a one to one kind of a relationship. Okay, this is what the one to one. So here we have the entities, and they are sharing the one to one kind of relationship. So here we always say, for example, see, I am going to put one simple, we can say, one class is there. We call it as the employee. Okay, we can say entity. Employee entity is there. Okay, and there is another one class. I am going to put as a asset entity. Asset, I just say entity. These are the two. These are the, we can say, two entities actually. They are sharing the relationship. They are sharing the, we can say, relationship. Okay, I just try to explain through this one. Okay, employee entity and the asset entity is there. Okay, here actually into the employee entity, we have the multiple members, like we can have the employee ID, we can have the employee name, we can have the employee salary, like that one. Okay, exactly same way. If you go here, and we have the asset entities, like here we can have the asset ID will be there, we have the asset name will be there, like that things will be here. Okay, and now see, I just, okay, we have these classes, so I just going to put here, like these are some members, like we can say employee ID will be there. Okay, we have the employee name will be there. Exactly, we have the employee salary will be there. Okay, with that one, if you consider this one as an asset, okay, in this we have the asset id will be there. Okay, exactly same here. Okay, asset name will be there. So like this one. Okay, so how this will be considered as a one to one kind of relationship. So one employee will have this one asset actually. One employee will have this one asset, and this asset is belong to this employee only. So we are not going to share this asset. So if such a kind of implementation I have to implement, I just go to write one employee table. Okay, I just write here. Okay, here I just make. Okay, here as a TB employee will be there. Okay, assume I just created the TB employee. Okay, and exactly same, we guys having the TB. Okay, asset is there. We having the TB asset is there. So here we can simply say we have the asset information like this one. See, 101. Okay, it is asset ID. Assume the asset ID is what? It is the Acer laptop. Okay, it is Acer. Okay, we can say laptop is there. So this is what the name of that. Okay, so simply ID and the name. Okay, here too we can have the information like here we can say one, it is employee ID. Okay, name of employee is Ram. Okay, salary of employee is 60. Okay, like that one. All these fields I have put it. And now with that one, this asset belong to Ram. So how you are going to make it as? Because the foreign key we are going to make it as asset ID. So I just making here 101. Okay, I'm just making here as a 101, and through that it is simply saying that Ram having Acer laptop, having the ID 101. Okay, now here you guys can have another record two. Okay, I can have the two. I'm going to put a Sham. Okay, its salary is a 75, but I'm not going to put this 101 over here. So we are not sharing your laptop between two employees. What it means simply that this this asset ID will occurs only once over here. This asset ID will occurs only once over here. Only once over here. So one employee with the one asset, we can say one employee with the one asset. And if such a kind of relationship is there, if such a kind of relationship is there, then we call it as the one to one kind of relationship. We call it as the one to one kind of relationship. So programmatically, if you guys have to implement this, if it is only table employee, you guys can insert the record. If it is the table asset, you guys can insert the report separately by using the JPA through the entity manager. But now these two classes are in relationship. These two classes are in the relationship. So programmatically, how you are going to develop it? So very simple, guys. If I have to write this one programmatically through the JPA, okay, through the ORM tool, we are using Hibernate. So I just can create one class, okay, class as an asset entity, okay. In that class, we have this, okay, asset ID, sorry, asset ID as a, we can say, primary key over here. Okay, assume like I'm not putting all the details. Okay, this is as a primary key, not a primary key. I just make it as the by using @ID. It is what by using @ID is there. Okay, all details you guys know that. Okay, sorry. Okay, other details you guys know that. Okay, this is what @ID. This is what the primary key. Okay, and then we have the simply lab asset name. So I just write asset name, we can say. Okay, this is what the columns. I'm just going to create this one class. Okay, assume it is what the private integer control X, private integer, okay, asset ID. This is what the primary key, and here I can simply say string, sorry, private, okay, string. Okay, we have the asset name like this one. This is my class I have created. Okay, and in this one we have the getter as well as we do have the setter methods. We have the setter methods, and here we are going to just important annotation. Okay, compulsory annotation I'm going to put here. It is my entity class. It is my entity class. So in this way, I just make my class as an entity class, and my asset entity class is ready. My asset entity class is ready with the private, okay, data members and public getter setter methods. Okay, exactly same. Whenever you guys are going to implement, okay, here I just make it as like this one, control C. Okay, and I do have the class as a, okay, as we are going to make it as a class as a employee entity, entity @ID, and here we can say it is employee ID. Okay, here we are going to put employee name here. Okay, exactly same. I just put it here private double, okay, and here salary, like this one I have put it. Assume table structure is exactly same. With that one we have getter setter. Okay, now we want to programmatically implement the relationship between the asset entity and the employee entity. We want to make the relationship between this one. We want to make the relationship between this one. So how you can do that? How you can do that? So you can do very simply. We have to use two more annotations with this. We have to use two more annotation. Which one? In this one class, employee class, I'm going to put a one one two, we can say one one to one. That simply means that what we are going to make, we are going to set here, we are going to implement here, we are going to implement a one to one kind of relationship. Okay, but with whom, which columns? So I am just going to put here join column, join column, join column, and in a bracket we have to specify the column names. Okay, so I just put here the name, is equals to, in the double quotation, we can write here, okay, as a foreign key, what is the name we have given? So here we just have put it, I think F, okay, something we have put it, okay, where it is, okay, I think here above we have given somewhere, okay, I think we are not given, okay. So here what I will give, I will give any name, so like F underscore, F stands for foreign key, and it is what the employee, sorry, it is what the asset ID. Okay, I just making this asset ID, this asset ID, this asset ID as a foreign key into the first table. Okay, in this one. Okay, comma. Okay, I'm just going to put here. Okay, unique is equals to true. Unique is equal to true. That means what? This foreign key will occurs only once. This foreign key will occurs only one. But from where? So here actually we have to create a object. Here we have to create a object of related class as a member to this one. So I just making here private private name of a class is asset entity, right? Name asset entity, okay, and then here we can write a asset entity. See what I'm doing here, see what I'm doing, this is what the new thing, only these three lines of code we have to add into the employee entity. Asset entity class is the normal entity class, we can create it, it will be get created like a normal way, okay. But as by doing this one to one join columns name if, okay, like this one. So this is what the foreign key name we are going to put over here, we are going to put this one, okay. And then here through this one we are just trying to okay, map this asset class with the employee class, okay. And why we are putting this unique is equal to true, unique is equal to true, it simply means that only one asset ID will occur into the employee, only one asset ID will be get occur into the employee, only one asset ID will be get occur into the employee. Getting guys what I mean to say here? Any question in this class?
Yes, sir.
No any question?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, good, good. So what we will do here, what we will do here, okay, we'll simply go to the Eclipse and we'll try to implement all these things, okay. I'm just going here, okay. I think we do have already created one demo, okay, okay, where it is, okay, demo JPA Zeta, okay, this is what we have done, okay. Now what I will do, I will create another one class, okay, this is new class, I'm going to create a new, okay, new Java project. Here I just say demo underscore JPA, okay, underscore relationship entity relationship, okay, relationship like this one, okay. And here I just put here Zeta, okay, like this one. This is my project I'm going to create for the entity relationship, okay. I just hide this, okay, and I will
Hello,
finish everything.
hello, sir.
Yes, please.
That persistence, context types, and entity lifecycle, the programmatically not explained, sir. Just theory part covered, sir.
What you said?